Welcome to the City Current Radio Show. I'm Andrew Bartolotta, Director of Digital Media here at cityCURRENT. And today we're talking about a nonprofit that's been around for 125 years, empowering children in critical situations to reach their true potential. Joining me today is Drake Bassett, President and CEO of Palmer Home for Children. Drake, thank you for joining me today.
We're really happy to connect and talk about our story, and we appreciate your interest and grateful for the community of cityCURRENT.
Absolutely. So first, give the listeners the mission of Palmer Home and some of the programs you offer from foster care to transitional care.
Great. Now, our mission fundamentally is to provide a safe home for children who need it, children coming from very vulnerable situations where they might have been exposed to extreme circumstances, or it may just be what we would think of as mild, but things that are not necessarily stable, and environments that often put children at risk, and they need a place to call home. So for 125 plus years, we are now continuing to serve, children who need that safe place. We do it through a variety of programs. And I think that's, also a statement of the fact that even though we've been here for so long, our core mission, which is to provide a safe place for children, to help those children in need, is still there. But the scope has changed because the world's changed. And so as the world has changed, we've learned a few things, and we feel great about the fact that we're able to offer up a campus program, which we can talk about, but also the foster care program and a transitional program, and actually working with families directly. So those programs are services that really try to pay attention to where the child is at, given their situation, and how can we best serve them and position them for the future.
Now, you recently held a groundbreaking for your Dr. Hugh Francis Jr. Wellness Center on the DeSoto County campus. Talk about what this $8.2 million project includes, how the community can support this project, and what it means for the children you serve.
Well, we're very excited to have experienced the groundbreaking, to have finally reached a milestone in terms of fundraising that allows us to go forward. So we feel great about that. And we're excited, most of all, that the facility will have two primary functions. The first function, of course, is that it serves children, obviously, and that includes things like a swimming pool that they're going to be able to swim together and spend time at. There's also a full-blown gymnasium, and that's going to be really great. But we also have some things that we think are essential to the full development of children. So we'll have the capacity to provide different counseling environments, therapeutic counseling, art therapy, other kinds of things that we believe play a role in helping children untangle their past and move forward. More specifically, we also will have educational capacity. In other words, we'll have rooms where we can take in children based on their educational situation after having completed our assessments, and in many cases determined that there might be some deficiency. And when you think about children coming out of vulnerable situations, they've often missed out on what we would think of as a traditional school experience. Going to school, coming home, having a stable home, doing your homework, going to bed, getting up, doing all of that. Many of them have missed out on that. So consequently, their reading or their math or their science skills are way below where they should be. So what we want to be able to do in this wellness center is continue to, reinforce or strengthen as we try to develop them for the future, those key areas that make a real big difference. So education, emotional, and then also play. Like I said, we've got a gymnasium, we'll have this gymnasium, and we'll have this pool. So that's the focus of the wellness center, because our primary focus is children. At the same time, just as we're having this conversation, we have a great relationship with the public at large. They want to serve children, and many of them do that through Palmer Home for Children. They donate, they partner, they follow us online, they volunteer, and the other part of the building will be used, in fact, to bring the public in, tell them our story, teach, train, let them come have a luncheon when they bring their Rotary Club or their committee for whatever. But being able to open up our doors to the public, that retains our privacy for the children, but also opens the door to the public, because we believe that's a hub for us. We believe that's going to be a great location to tell our story, And of course, it is a beautiful campus out on about 100 acres of woods. And we're just really, really excited that we can, move forward there.
When you look at your website, there's a great virtual tour of this
Yeah.
space, and it really is a tranquil, beautiful space that the children can heal and learn and feel and be their best selves, but also that you can host events to help move the mission forward. So I think it's such a great space, a wellness center that will be built. Who is Dr. Hugh Francis Jr.?
So Dr. Hugh Francis Jr. Is a um, former board member, and is beloved really of the organization and served for many, many years, and introduced um, Palmer, kind of connected Palmer Home for Children to his church, which is Independent Presbyterian Church there in Memphis, and to many other churches in the Memphis area. But he sort of spearheaded I think a great line of thinking, which was, if you're going to take care of children, you also need to take care of the people who are taking care of children, which, we always think that we're on the cutting edge of some things. Well, he was thinking about this a long time ago. We call it today self-care. We call it, taking care of your staff, all of those great things. He thought about that a long time ago. And he actually introduced what we call Camp Palmer, making it possible for our children to go away to a camp for a week, while the people who care for our children, they take a week's respite. They go and have time for themselves. And so that was, just one of the things that he did. But as an active board member and as someone that was beloved in the larger community of Memphis, Dr. Hugh Francis is well respected. And so we were really thrilled to honor him because he cared about the wellness of not only the children, but also the people that care for them. So for us, it's a perfect fit, and we're really thrilled to honor him and his family.
Yeah, I would agree. It really does seem like a perfect fit with his mission of wellness, self-care, and now to have his name on this wellness center on your DeSoto County campus seems like a great synergy there for his legacy to live on. So
You
that's
do.
that's really great.
You want the names of people on buildings and things like that to mean something. And so, and I think that's what it will be. It'll be a reminder to us. Dr. Francis is very intelligent, very smart, and he had a great sense of humor. He kept things light. He was also very candid. And so, when I think of him, I think that we all want to be nudged in a positive way, to always be thinking about the very best that we can do. And so I think seeing his name on that building will make a lot of sense to a lot of us and will be an inspiration to us.
Now, speaking of being an inspiration, what puts a smile on your face when you look at the work you and your team are doing every day?
Wow, it's a great question. So a couple of things. Number one, I just love having great people to work with. Love having great people around me. It's the top of my list when it comes to operational priorities. You can't do anything without great people. I mean, you can make your way, but it goes so much faster when you have people that are capable, but they're also passionate about the work that you do. And so I'm blessed to work with so many great people. And then what you see is the results. And so these days, I see our children taking big strides in their growth and their development. And what we talked about, coming to this tranquil campus, is so essential. It's a beautiful environment, but you're talking about children who've come out of vulnerable situations, and they need to feel safe. They need to feel that these people are people that they can trust. And for young people coming out of vulnerable situations, trust is a big deal. And so it's very important to me to have very mindful people who understand that these children have come from trauma situations. And so they're ready, they're consistent, they're friendly, they're thoughtful, but they believe in the future of these children. And so when we start to see these things happen, when we see children who've been with us, who might have been frightened at the beginning, who are beginning to build a little bit of trust, they begin to build the connections, these relationships that start to mean something. They're consistent, they're positive, all of those good things. Then you start to see some of the capabilities emerge. And that's really our process. Those are our values. Are we safe? Are we connected? And am I capable? Those are questions children ask. Am I safe? Who am I connected with? Do I matter? And then also, am I capable of something? And so many children who don't have those things don't have the opportunity to rise up and become who they can become our children are doing that. And so when I see them sign up for the military and go off and succeed, or when I see them accomplish maybe a reading task that, a year ago was impossible, but now they can read, or now they can perform mathematics, or now they're just in clubs or in relationships or playing sports, or taking a lead role in church, or just experiencing those steps that are huge milestones for children who, when they first arrived, hardly even talk to you. So I think that kind of step is what excites us. And so, yeah, when I think about the great things, I think about this dynamic of great people working very hard. And I say it often, but people don't come to work at Palmer Home by accident. They just don't. You come here for a reason. And so when all that comes together, yeah, that excites me.
I love that. How has, or what are some lessons learned through the pandemic that Palmer Home for Children has been able to sort of learn from?
Great question. Well, whether it's the pandemic or anything else, I think it's our responsibility to be prepared, anticipating whatever might come. And so I think it always puts you on your toes a little bit to think, what else are we not thinking about? And so I think it's always good, to have a takeaway discussion. And we've identified opportunities. We've realized, I think most importantly, that relationships matter. So even for our staff, when they couldn't always be together, or when our children were quarantined for a period of time, we realized how important it was that as soon as we could, we want to reconnect and make sure that those relationships are in place. So we've adopted virtual meetings, of course, like everybody else, and we've tried to be creative with that. Before the pandemic, we would have staff meetings in person. Now we have an all-staff meeting once a month, and it's virtual, and we have a little fun with it. Our staff dresses up for some event or something, but really we're just seeing that we're human, that we're connecting, and that it's so important to take care of those relationships. I think that's the biggest takeaway. We've also seen us adapt. So we have a mud bug event down in Hernando every year, and that's it's a popular event. Well, this year it was drive-by, but we had all of our sponsors step up and say, yes, let's make it happen. So we handed out a great, supply of gifts and purchase, food for purchasing, but just being willing to pivot, adapt, and keep the mission in sight. You'd think that we might have slowed down. We actually increased the number of children that we took in. So again, being prepared for that and being ready to serve those children. So pandemics and other challenges keep us on our toes.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of serving the children, what are some ways people can get involved at Palmer Home?
I think the biggest, first step in my mind, if I were encouraging somebody to get involved, is certainly connect with our social media. Go to palmerhome.org. You'll see a variety of ways that we're serving children, but you'll also see some interesting ways that you can get involved. You might want to be a prayer partner. You might want to contribute to a specific thing, or you might want to come volunteer. As our campus takes shape, and as we're building out this wellness center, we anticipate volunteer groups being able to come out and help us with some of the grounds or help us take on a particular project. There might just be an awareness event that somebody wants to introduce. Come out and have lunch at our pavilion and let us, spend a little time together to tell you the story and let you experience what it's like. We did that after the groundbreaking just yesterday. That's probably why it's top of mind. And we just had a great time letting people see this is where kids are. This is where kids can be. And of course, we always have to work and balance the privacy of children, but there are opportunities to connect in so many ways. And so again, I would encourage people to go to the website, reach out to us. But I love believing that we don't do this alone. We do it with a lot of people, sometimes people we know and sometimes people we don't know, but they know us. And it's just about connecting and as I think your whole project is, taking advantage of the good things that we can do in this community to make an impact and make a difference.
So you talked about Mudbug Bash. Now talk about the other upcoming events throughout the year that support Palmer Home.
So we enjoy connecting with the community in a lot of different ways. We're always happy to do that. Our annual radiothon is a great event. It's a great way to learn about Palmer Home. So many different people talk about their experience with Palmer Home or what it means to them. So that's coming up in July. And then of course we have a clay tournament that's going to happen. We call it Shotguns and Sunflowers, and we would love for people to go to the events page and find out about that. But that's a lot of fun to connect with people that care about what's going on. And then we also have a tailgate for each of the major schools. So we have a tailgate for Ole Miss and we have a tailgate for Mississippi State. Both of those are great events. They're on off weekends when the game's not in town. People can get together and watch all the games, spend time eating great food, visit, get to know each other, but also hear about Palmer Home and what we're doing. And those are getting bigger each year. So, jump on now and get your tickets. But you can go to our website, go to our events page, and see all of that.
Where can people go to learn more about Palmer Home and support your efforts?
palmerhome.org.
Drake, thanks for coming on the show today.
Wonderful to talk to you. Thanks so much.